is it the case that you sort of do the budget and the shooting schedule and the film analytics so that they all fit together
Sure.
in order to make it so that it's an equation that works in terms of production?
Yeah, I think, and there's a little bit of timing in development. And depending on, and development, by the way, one thing that's worth noting is everything that I mentioned previously about development, bringing on analytics, a producer's rep, a casting director, getting your budget and schedule, all of those things have a price tag next to them. So that's what the development costs wind up being, is the price for paying all of those vendors and services to provide that packaging material so that you can meet the requirements for funding. And when you do that, it's not a 1, 2, 3 go proposition. You do it in stages or drawdowns. And so to what you were just saying, when you start out with development, the first thing you want to do is some pre-analytics project or a company. We go ahead at our cost and do some pre-analytics. We call Film Profit. We have a discussion, meaningful discussion, have them look over the content. And they're pretty savvy. They can tell us right out of the gate kind of what we're up against. And if it's something that needs a lot of work, we will go back to the client and say, hey, look, you may want to go get coverage. And we'll recommend coverage people for them. At this point, we haven't charged any fees to them. We would like to just have them have it ready to go so that they're not wasting everybody's time, most importantly, their own. So assuming that it gets through coverage or it comes in and it's already a good script that doesn't need any work, the next step is getting all of your legal agreements together, putting everything together on that level. The first drawdown for your development is not everything. It's your analytics and your budget and your schedule. And yes, those two vendors work closely together and integrate as to what you're going to look at, because you're coming at two different ends. One is the audience saturation level for this project potentially, and what the burn rate or actual cost of production is going to be. And those things have to come together in a cohesive manner. So that requires a lot of communication between those two separate vendors. Jeff Hardy up at Film Profit once told me that a budget's going to be what it's going to be, not what you want it to be. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time, but it makes a lot of sense now, in that you may come in, and I get a lot of clients come in and they'll go, oh, it's a $50 million film. And you get your analytics and they come back and go, well, your maximum amount of worldwide potential revenue return is 15 million. That's 35 million gap that you can't bridge. So if you can't make that film, as you said earlier, for much under that projected revenue return, you shouldn't be making it. So a lot of people come in and go, I can do this for $1 million. And then they do a budget and schedule. And the AD calls me up and says, the burn rate on this is like, you have to shoot it for 28 days based on every scene and every in the script, and it's going to cost like $4 million. So I don't think people who come in and go, I think it's going to be this, sometimes they're dead on, sometimes they're way off, but that analytics and budget and schedule are going to have to come together to give you a cohesive number of what you can shoot that for and still get out alive or make a profit.
Whether or not somebody chose to work with you to put these numbers together, or they chose to put them together themselves. I mean, it is the case, obviously. People do development. They do it all the time. You can learn how to do it. Regardless of who does it, it's something that you pay for, because you need to get the film analytics that you need are actual numbers that you actually need. They actually need to be made by an actual person that actually does this for a living. And it's a little bit like saying, well, I'm going to build a house. And it's like, okay, that's totally great. You should totally build a house. But unless it's a log cabin in the woods and you don't need to help from anybody, you're going to have to get something called architectural plans, and then you're going to need to get permits, and you need you need these things, because that's what it takes to actually build a project of this size. So as the budget for a project goes over $1 million, you will be doing development, and you will be doing the part where you analyze how much the film can actually make based upon the past performance of projects and how much it costs to produce.